Hey Capricorn. My Katie took over my chair, so we have a different setup though. I'll be setting up, finding my way around this desk for a little bit, but I do like this for now. I like this angle. I like that, the evil eyes right there. But welcome if you have not been here. Venusian wave. All information to work with me, book with me one-on-one is below here in the description, as well as the extended versions to these readings, which will be in the first link below, but give it about 24 to 40 hours before that becomes available to you. It's been more like 24, so definitely I recommend checking those. I have published public ones in the past, so you can take a look at that as well. But again, all information is there. My calendar only goes out so far at this time. But again, my email is there if you want to work with me in some kind of way. And a new podcast shall be on the way this month. Just getting through the readings first because there is a lot to talk about, Capricorn. Cards have already fallen out. And I just want to say the second part is where we get even deeper into the astrology, the body, just all of what is going on in this general reading. Because remember, this is a general reading, okay? First card's out. Four of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, Two of Pentacles. Through the Ace of Cups, you are able to weigh things out. You're able to recognize that in order for things to shift in a greater way at this time, in a way that is maybe more monetarily stable, more abundance in that way, maybe in order to, Empress on the bottom, in order to move forward, or what moving forward looks like now at this moment, right, is it almost looks like, I'm going to pull some more cards. It almost looks like you are being asked to choose between things that are really important to you, things that you are very attached to. And in a sense, Capricorn, correct me if I'm wrong, but you almost felt like maybe you would never have to choose between these things because it seems like it's almost a surprise. Like you didn't think you were going to have to, they're like, these are my values. This is what's built me. This is where I'm headed towards. And philosophically, because I've been feeling into your energy lately, that's why I put off the reading, because this month is a bit different for you in a way that in order to do this, not that you don't know what faith is, not that you don't know that things don't happen just in a linear way. However, you almost expect that in your life because that is the way in your specific situation, your specific energy gets from one place than the other. You see the goal and you go through each checkpoint along the way. You're like, this is how you make, okay, I got this. But that specifically works for you, especially your energy, not everybody else's energy. However, everyone in life has to experience something out of the ordinary, which I'm sure you have. This is just going to emphasize that and it may even recall those moments and bring them right back to where you've experienced this before. You have, in a different way. You're being asked to trust that you're not being asked to give this up as a trick. It's not a trick. It's not even like a competition. It's not even like a test where like, let's see if Capricorn can handle this. We know you can handle it. This is about you moving through to a deeper sense of faith within yourself and your capabilities. Knowing that you can trust this process, especially if it's something about needing to, for yourself even, come up with something that makes sense a transition that makes sense for you. Do you always get that choice? No, but maybe it's about more coping or what you need for this process to go even better. I'm sorry, my nose is a little itchy. Okay. This is going to move fast. I think that's also something that you're feeling, because you do sense things like you have a deep sense of nature. So in how things are built, right? Even if they aren't linear, you still understand like the building of a relationship and all these things in between. Doesn't mean that you actively portray them, use them. Not always. Maybe, you're always, and we are always learning. Sorry. So, right, I like the lighting that this brings, and it just rained. It's just so nice. And it just rained. So maybe this is also about a release. This is about you finding some kind of release, some kind of relaxation. And maybe that's what you need, is to pull back in order to understand what you're deciding between and what feels personal and that isn't specifically, but it feels personal to you. And how you can feel that this is such a big decision. And not that you're someone who doesn't make big decisions or take on big responsibilities. The bigger, the better for you. However, you're feeling it now. You're just feeling through into this next space. It's like things have been kind of chill for a while, and it's like you weren't necessarily seeing this coming unless like you're focused on this right now, because you may be in such a great space, and like again going from like letting go a little and realizing, especially if you're like in love, you have to let go of some things that you were used to in order to move forward with someone else sometimes, and so do they. It's always like there's a compromise, but you're really seeing what you would have to be willing to compromise at this time. Now you're really seeing the decisions you have to make in order to be there, to know what abundance really is, right? To see where it's taking you on this journey as well. And you just sense that it's moving fast, and it is moving fast. You sense it, you feel it, because it's after this moment, all of a sudden things kind of felt slow, and then Mars moved into Aries, right? And we're going to talk about how Pluto's going to retrograde into Capricorn a little bit too, which is what this is about to an extent. It's one of the layers in this human existence. And Pluto is coming back in to have you really close up and clear up, for lack of a better, it's in a degree of mastery. So for lack of a better word, master this part of yourself that isn't afraid. You are a risk taker, for sure. Especially when you know you got. If you know your cards, you're like, good. But even if you don't know your cards, you know yourself. Most of you know yourself. That's why when you take a risk, when you're finally there, because you already visualize, I know you do, I know you see it. And if you don't think you do, you'll start to notice when you do even more, because we're not always aware, right? And it's about this understanding that, you have the 4, the 3, or the 4, the 2, and the 3. The 4 minus 2 equals 3. But we have the 8 here too, so that I guess is relevant. But what you can gather from this is that if you didn't already feel a greater sense of self-worth and self-discovery at this time, you're being brought into that light even more. You're seeing where this has revealed limitations you didn't know that you had put on yourself and on your horizon. And now you're kind of at a drawing board, and you maybe haven't been at a drawing board in a while, and it kind of feels good. It kind of feels like, oh, I can actually see through this now. This is what has kept me from closing this out. Because what's moving fast, which I didn't see before, but what's moving fast is the closing of this, that time. Of a certain moment in time that you've been going through, a certain cycle, a certain pattern you've been going through, and now it's that threshold. And that's why you may feel like it's like, yo, this again. It's like, because it's like, that's what it takes to get to the root and to get to the next phase, right? And like I've said to, I don't know who I said this to, I lied, that things are an equation, right, most of the time. However, the equation you're used to is shifting, right? I think of my brother who's a Capricorn, and he does lots of math and calculus, and how math is ever shifting from words to numbers to letters, and how it's a language in itself, and how it's even in astrology. And that's what's happening. You're going from this equation to more of a word problem, or vice versa. This, I'm going to pull out the bottom too, because what's at the bottom now was before, and I checked, so, you know, we're going to pull it out. Not that I need to give you my reasonings, but I guess, like, that's the magic behind it. Illusions. The Prestige comes to mind if you've never seen that movie. King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. And when you see the visualization further, right, sometimes when we go there with ourselves, you could be, and this is known, like, you could be brought back to a time where, or fear, an emotion of going that far, whether it's fear, shame, guilt, and I'm talking specifically negative feeling, and if it's a positive feeling first and then it becomes negative, and then I'll go back to that. We're not going to only focus on the negative. That negative brings you back to a time where that's what stemmed from getting you farther than that vision. So you're coming up against an internal moment with yourself that has to do with your self-worth, right? What you didn't think you would really maybe come up against, but it's you being so sure, right, that whatever you get dealt, or anything that you can handle, whatever gets dealt to you, whatever you are capable of, whatever you're seeing for yourself, right? It's a time to acknowledge that you do have what it takes. And you have, if you've been wondering about someone that you're with, you know, we're going to go with romantic first with this. This is about someone that you're with, or that you are seeing very clearly with you. That's the first place you can even look, right? So if you're kind of like, oh, okay, like, this is kind of throwing me off slightly. We don't have a lot of majors though, so that's something that is a positive, that this is just something you need to adjust to, which is the Hermit coming out, that adaptable, mutable energy. But it's also you seeing the insight of the partners that you choose, or the people that you choose to be closest to in this life. And it's possible, you know, that one of you is feeling rather safe, or have discovered something, a truth within yourself, and are feeling rather safe within yourself. So the other person is, things are coming up, right? Things are coming up with maybe you. And it's really important to see if there is mirroring going on, that beautiful aspect, if there is safety going on and security going on within both of you, there is more insight there than just the monetary and material, right? Not that that's all you focus on, but look beyond, like, what's that fear of? You have someone who seems to be a match for you, right? But also these people are most likely going to bring up things that cause insight to what's stopping you from seeing beyond your glass ceiling, or, you know, the wall, or from a certain time in your life, or a certain age in your life. And it goes back to possibly how you were shown that, and how that person was shown that, the person you're dealing with. And if you're not, you will quickly, most likely, be dealing with something, a new venture. Maybe it's something that you're both moving forward on, but you both are now really talking about, or it's a good idea to maybe talk about, like, what you want in life, where you're going, all of that, because there is abundance here. so much. And it's almost like it's like Taurus season's like, you know, and it's Taurus season's like open arms, and you're almost hesitant to the open arms, and you're like, why am I so hesitant to this open arms? What is this? For some of you too, it could also be that you've defined lines within a relationship that you are close to. It doesn't have to be a partner. That you are close to, and this is what is needed to clear the air, the space. There is something that dawns on you, and it's possible that this person, and if it is a Virgo, sheds light on you. You know, it might not feel so great at first. It's, you know, the Ace of Swords, or this insight that you guys discover it's not meant to feel good, right? This is a time where things are meant to feel good and expand. However, first, it's the start, it's the beginning, it's the birth of something. And I mean, I've never been in labor, but I can imagine. Need drugs for it, right? And so this is the phase. This is, I got this, I can handle this. This is the counterpart that we needed to see, to the, not that the kings are the counterpart to each other, but the duality of money and emotions, and that keeps coming up, and it's very Taurian energy. And it's possible that you have like an amazing idea. And I think we've talked about this so many times, but this is clearing the way for something that you've been waiting for, like an insight, something you didn't realize you were contemplating. An idea that could maybe even make you passive income in the long run. You know, it may come out more towards Gemini season, and when the planets start moving into Gemini season, that's when you get the insights, that's when you get the downloads. That's why this month it's so important to focus on this, because this is what's coming up for you, Capricorn. This is what the transits are bringing up for you. And if it feels like a big one, it's because you're, in one way you're doing so well, in another way you're like, there's something more that's calling to me, and I don't know where it's coming from. And all of a sudden you know where it's coming from, and it comes, sometimes the beauty of this is that it comes through the people that you're around. It comes through your connections, right? You know this, but this couldn't have come without the certain depth and openness of the energy, a certain air, a certain groundedness, but with that ethereal beauty, the growth of something beautiful, right? Also, I've been advised to say that if you are a Capricorn rising, Taurus is in the house of children, and that could be where you pay attention to your children, or if you're not ready to have children, just be very careful. And yeah, after this, you might feel like you're afraid of nothing. You might have that, and you should use that energy. However, remember that even if, you know, your ego says one thing, it's important to remain calm to an extent, if you can. Find a way. Maybe this brings you closer to someone, but it also shows you how you see money, Taurus, Venus and Taurus, how you see money, how you use money, how it affects your day-to-day life, your love, romantic situation, how those things correlate and communicate. And that's what the Gemini is too, is that it's going to communicate even more to you at this time. And that how, also just weirdly, how are you breathing? see if you can come back to your breath or incorporate breath work or something of that nature for yourself. Maybe, just maybe. And maybe you didn't realize that whatever you're needing to hear, whatever this, very sharp realization or revelation that happens and comes to you during a time, in a moment where you may need to be reminded of who you are and what you're capable of, that it's also the reason why the pain can be the healing. It's very Virgo as well. But like you're digesting something to a deeper level, which may also affect your physical body in a positive way. Don't be afraid. But also, if you need to get some help and be checked on, please go do that for yourself, okay? All right, Capricorn, I really like this setup a lot. I will see you next month, and all information is below. I hope you have a great season.